Hey everybody, welcome to my shop. Glad you could be here today. Today we're taking apart this Portland chainsaw from Harbor Freight. It's item number 61592. It's a pretty good chainsaw. I've used it to cut up one tree so far. It worked great for that. The blade and bar is an Oregon blade and bar. So, anywho, here we go. Take a look. It's just a normal Oregon bar. It's pretty simple chainsaw. It's a good chainsaw though, from what I've experienced so far. I have not put it through a whole bunch, but you know, it will probably take it if I put it through. Alright, so we're gonna start. We're gonna take this little chain guard off. We're gonna take off this little nut right here to get down into our chain. Alright. And if you can, if it's not all up in the way by doing it, here, let's take this off here. Just a normal 14-inch chain and bar. If it doesn't make any difference, I usually just try to put the nut right back on the bolt just so you don't lose it. Alrighty, we got us a little C-clip here. We're gonna pop that off. Let's grab a little flathead. Now the reason I'm taking this thing apart is because I want to see what makes this a good chainsaw or a bad chainsaw. A lot of people out there want to know, is this a good saw? Is it a bad saw? Well, you know, people can answer that and say, yeah, it's good, yeah, it's bad. I'm wanting to start taking stuff like this apart because people will say, with a chainsaw sitting right here, this is good, this isn't, you know, and people want the question answered, why is this one better than this one, or vice versa, whatever. And there's just not a whole lot of people doing this. There are a couple channels taking apart tools, seeing how they work, taking apart everything. I'm not going to try to copy them or anything. I just enjoy doing this and want to do it as well. I'm going to try my best to not do the stuff they already have, just the things they haven't done that I myself personally wanted to see. And by the way, if y'all have any suggestions or y'all have anything you want me to take apart, just leave it down in the comments down below. Alright, so we're going to take off our little drive gear here. I do want to say, I've chopped down a whole tree so far, and there's not much wrong with this. You can't even hardly tell that this thing has been run other than just the gunk on it. Alright, so that's not a bad little gear. Hopefully it'll last. Alright, let's get into this. Now, for anybody worried about taking something apart, I just want to say, everything comes apart one way or another, and as long as you're not overwhelmed or too worried about it, it's not too hard. Just make a mental note of what you're taking out and taking apart and what you're doing, and go for it, especially if the thing's broken. I mean, there's no need. Why not? You're about to throw it out, so why not go ahead and take it apart, see what happens there, see what it's made of. Alright, we're just gonna pop all these screws out of here. Alright, yep, that's all for that for now. Say that's all. Okay, there we go. What's holding me? Oh, our handle's got to come off as well. Alright, so there's another one. About time for a new bit. Okay. I'll pop all this off, set this aside. Nothing but just a little plastic handle. I mean, it is what it is. It's a $40 saw. I got this thing for $40. It was, you know, it was a pretty good deal, and I imagine you could get it even cheaper than that. You know, Harbor Freight always has a deal going on. Alright, we're going to leave this chain tensioner on here. Doesn't look like there's too much going on with it, so it's a normal chain tensioner. It doesn't look any different than any other ones I've seen. Oh, gotta pull our top off. No, I don't. Okay. Alright. I will say this. It only has one bolt to hold this whole bar together, and this, I don't know what you call it, alignment pin, I guess is what you would call it. So, that's not wonderful, but, you know, it works okay, I should say. Alright, let's see if we can't put a little prying on it. Alright, there we go. We're gonna pull this thing on apart and see what we got here. Alright. Okay. What we got down in here? Got our lube. Let's undo that. Okay. Yeah. That's for our oiler here. Comes over to this little thing. No O-ring around here to seat up against the bar or anything, so you might want to keep an eye on and check, make sure this doesn't get filled full of gunk, because if it does, you won't get any oil on your bar. Chain burns up in no time. Spins pretty good. See if we can see what this thing is. Oh, wonderful. Just lost something. Alright. Alright, we got us a little bitty sealed bearing here. Let's see what we got. Looks like Z009. Can you see that? Yeah. And then a, what is that? I can't even see what that is. 7HD, I believe. Not sure what that bearing means. I'm sure somebody watching this will know, and if you want to put it down in the comments below, I'd surely appreciate it. Alrighty, looks like plastic bull gear here. It's not great. I wish this was actually right here. With some chainsaws, they put this bull gear right here on the outside. If they do, you can get into them easier and clean the gunk out of these teeth. If this stuff, or all the oil and wood chips will mix together and make a nice hard greasy paste and get wedged up in these gears, in these teeth. When they start to get full of gunk, this gear cannot fully engage these teeth, and it'll end up slipping, and it'll also get tighter because you'll have less room and it'll try to expand. It makes it harder to turn the bull gear, and eventually the teeth are not going to engage at all, and it'll jump and start going around, and as soon as it goes around and eats those teeth off, you either have to replace this or replace this. So at $40, I'd just replace the whole saw. Hate to say that something is disposable, but at $40 you're going to spend $30 on this part. So $40 you get a whole nother saw. Yeah, just go ahead and get another saw. But if you have a, you know, $200 saw, it's worth it to fix it. Alright, so we're going to set this aside right now. Spins pretty good. This bearing just sits down in this plastic housing here. Don't know how well that's going to last. Works, don't know how well it'll last though. Alright, we're going to set this aside. Alright, so we got our oiling mechanism here. It's a little push button. I would think it would be rotary. I don't know how that works. Let's see. Ah, okay. So this outer ring here on the bull gear. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can, one side is higher than the other. So as it goes around, it'll push this in one time. It's a really loose spring on it too, so it doesn't take a lot of force to push this thing. But it is all plastic, and it kind of wobbles back and forth. Alright, so our little stone came out of there. Got a little brass sleeve it sits in. I assume it just sits in there. Okay, so it just slides in and out. That's all it is to that. Got our little oil bottle here. And here's our switch over here on this side. Let's see. Not much of a clicky to it. I'll take a little safety out there. Ah, there we go. Good hard detent on it. That would be good if you didn't have just these little pins holding your whole trigger together. That's your hinge, and I'd imagine those could break off fairly easy. But that's that. And then we have a little preload spring for our trigger to push it back out. But yeah, good heavy detent on there. Alright, just get our power to come in. Run straight through our switch over to the motor. Bob's your uncle, and she works. Alright, so we're going to pull this motor out, see what it's dealing with. So far, I do want to say, it's not too bad. I mean, the plastic itself is pretty rigid. Not sure what kind of plastic it is. Let's see. Got a couple little maker marks down here. We're going to pull out our motor and see if there's some kind of... Let me pull this out before we lose it. Alright, so let's flip this whole guy over here. Well, before we do that, let's try to take off this oiling bottle. Looks like it's just one little screw holding it on there. Alright. Yeah, that just holds down the hoses there to keep it from, you know, getting up in your gear there. It's pretty nice. Alright. That's all there is to it. A little oiler guy. Let's see, how long does it take to get some oil out of this thing? So about 20 pumps just to get one little drip to come on out of there. That is kind of good. It means you won't be burning through all your oil in 30 seconds. Alright, so let's flip this guy over. Take off our back motor cover here. See what we can see. Alright. And like I said, anybody worried about taking stuff apart, don't freak out about it. It's nothing to it but screws and clips and whatever else. You take your time, you look, see what's holding it together. Like I said, if it's broke, damn it, give it a shot. You know, you might be very surprised at how much you enjoy just taking something apart. And if it's already broke, if you can't get it back together, just throw it in the trash where you're about to send it anyway. So you just get to have some fun for free. Alright, from what we can see, can't see too much. Let's see if we can just slip this whole motor out of here. Alright. Alrighty. Pull these little guys to the side. Alright. Let's see if we can push it. Ah, there we go. Alrighty, so now comes our motor with our switch here. Let's pull this off of here so we can pull it all the way out and look at it. Alright, so we pulled off our stress relief there. and our cord comes out, and our motor comes out. Alright, we're going to set that aside for just a second. See if we can't figure out what this is. Alright, PA6 GF30. So that's PA6 glass fiber reinforced 30%. Got a little recycling mark there. It's not too bad. I mean, it's rigid, so I mean, they did a okay job on that. Now you do have your plastic teeth up here. They're crap. They're plastic teeth, you know, but it's better than no teeth at all. And it does bite a little bit, and it holds your chainsaw from jumping around. Oh, alright, so set that aside as well. Let's take a look at our motor here. Alright, so we've got our motor. Let's see, can we take this thing apart any further? Got a little back bearing for that the bull gear rides on. See if we can see what that is. It's a Z0069. There's a CHL. It looks like a G all by itself. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Nope, not really. Okay. So we're going to pull this thing apart, see what we can see on it. If you don't know how something comes apart, start taking the screws out. Eventually, the whole thing will fall apart in your hand like putty. Just hope that it doesn't fall apart so much that you can't, you know, get it back together. Alright, we gotta pull this pinion off of here. Got a little C-clip. Alright. Here we go. Let's pull this little guy out here without losing all of our screws to hold our motor in place. Set them all right there for now. Sorry for hitting the camera there. Give you a little motion sickness. Alright. Watch your eyes, people. That could have been bad. Never would have found that. Alright. Broke the damn clip in half. Well, there you go. You know, you gotta break something. Broke the little clip right in half when I was pulling it off there. It snapped and laid down there, broke. Alright. It's like a maybe powdered metal gear. You can see the little dimples in it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. Little dimples in there. So yeah, a little powdered metal gear. It's not the best gear in the world, but it's better than having a plastic gear. Alright, so down into the motor a little more here. Got our bi-directional fan, just straight blades. Don't know why they wouldn't put a directional fan on there. I mean, what are you gonna run your saw in reverse? What are you doing? Alright. Well, I imagine that this motor goes in probably 15 different tools they make, so it does make sense to have a bi-directional fan on it. A little smaller screwdriver here. Number 1 Phillips. Alright, we're gonna pull this out. Alright, so that's coming broke. No, it's not. It pulls out sideways. That's interesting. Okay. Pull that off there. Let's see if we can get this armature out of here. We've got some more Phillips in the back. Good long through bolts. Giving you some good clamping force on your motor. Alright, let's see what we can figure out about this guy. So, fan's got to come off here. Alright, so that's coming off there. Alright, let's get these, you can't take this off. If you notice, there's no way to take your brushes off. There's some little tabs just bent over here. If you can see that. Just bent over tabs, so you can't replace your brushes. And if I pull this thing out, it's going to shoot my brushes out and I'll never get it back together. So, we're going to see what we can see without pulling it all the way out. Okay. Alright, we can see our armature here. Right up in there. And you do have some good thick wire on it. Good epoxy coating on it. It's probably 18 gauge wire, it looks like. Good long big brush holders. I mean, look how big those brushes are. Big wide ones. They're serrated. You can see the serrations in it. That's to give better contact onto the commutation bar. And you know, that's a pretty good size brush. It's also, I mean, in relation to the motor, that com bar is small. Alright, so we're just going to slip this back together because I can't take it fully apart because of the brushes. So, we'll say this, we got some epoxy down there on the stake-ons onto the com bar. That's for vibration because the wires will want to break right there where it's connected. So then putting a, I mean, you can see a whole bunch of way more expensive tools than this don't have that. So, awesome. Alright, so we got spade terminals, little brass cap for the top of the brushes. Does look like the brushes are sitting in a metal sleeve, which is good because the plastic will get soft and the brushes will start wiggling. Alright, you got your back bearing here, little sealed bearing. Alright, well that's all there is to it. It was an SMB. It's got a part number on it. So I imagine you could replace this if you really just wanted to. You didn't have to throw it out, so that's nice. I mean, don't know how you would get your brushes back out of the way of the com bar, but I'm sure it could be done. But they've got 3/4 of an inch size brush there. That's pretty good size. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, well, that's about it. We're gonna get this thing back together. I'm gonna see if I can find some kind of spring clip for this, the one that I broke, and I'll bring you back in when I get this thing together and we'll make sure it still works, and yeah, go from there. Okay, so I couldn't find a clip to put this back on, so I'm actually just going to put one little bitty spot weld there, and hope I don't F anything up too bad by doing that. So here we go. Okay. A little spot weld done on that. We're gonna see how that works. Might have to clean it up. Got a little bit in that gear. Might have to clean that out. May not. Don't know. Let's find out. No. Appears that it's alright. Okay, so made our... Won't come off again. Alright. Do want to say periodically, in this saw it's a little harder, but if you can, get in here and clean these out at least once a season or something. Not every time you use it, but something, because as soon as these things get full, it's going to strip out your gears and you'll be done. So keep those clean. To sum up, this is a pretty good saw. For $40, you can't beat it. You really can't beat it. It's yeah, it's not going to last you forever. And if you're a lumberjack, if you're a logger, I wouldn't get this saw. But, you know, for homeowner, tree fell in their house, by their house, backyard, something like that, this is a good little saw. Have to say, I will probably buy it again if this one breaks. It's it's already paid me everything I needed to get out of it. I haven't spent a whole bunch of money on it. It's already cut up one tree for me, and well, it's hard to argue with that. Alright. And you know, I wouldn't think it would go out on you very quickly. Probably last you a good little while. I think I got this backwards. But yeah, if you're contemplating getting this saw, had a tree fall in your backyard, you don't have a chainsaw, you need a chainsaw, and you're thinking about buying the Harbor Freight version, go ahead and get it. You probably won't be too disappointed. It's gonna last you a little while. I didn't see anything that would make me think it's gonna go out in a week. You know, as long as you don't just push it and try to cut through a tree in 30 seconds, I truly imagine it will be fine. And, you know, you can't push it. This isn't a lumber, you know, a logger's saw. This isn't a $1,000 saw. This isn't a steel that's going to cut through a huge tree. If it fits in the bar, then it'll cut it. It's going to cut it a little slower than what you may be used to if you had really high dollar saws, but it works. All it has to do is turn this blade. If it turns this blade, it's going to cut wood. So really, you got basically a motor to turn an Oregon blade, and you got it for $40. So whoopee, you know, that's a pretty good little deal there. Can't argue with it. It's just a good little saw. Probably gonna hear some chewiness because of that little spot weld I made in there. But once again, for $40, as long as it keeps working for another month or two, I don't care. So what you think, people? You think it'll work? Let's see if I did it right. Oh yeah, that gear is grinding. That added a lot of vibration to it. It was a lot smoother than that before I started. And if I wouldn't have had that weld in there, it would have probably have stayed going pretty nice and smooth. So I screwed it up a little bit, which is why if it's not broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone and you'll be fine. It's a good little saw though. I can't really knock it for $40. I'm gonna start doing some more reviews. Not reviews, what am I saying? I'm gonna start doing some more teardown videos like this. I want to start doing more power tools and things of that nature. I'll start sending out things like this. When I get done with them, I'll send them to somebody that leaves a comment in the bottom, something like that. If anyone has any ideas of what you want me to tear down next, leave it in the comments below, and I will do my best to do those. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell for an alert notification. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. I'm glad y'all were here with me in the shop, and I'll see you on the next one.